I was out over the weekend. I was in New England doing book signings for my new book, Broke, which is out this week in bookstores everywhere. And it is a plan on how to restore our trust and our truth and our treasure here in America. But then I went up with Bill O'Reilly on Saturday night, and Bill and I did the Bold Fresh tour. Now, Bill told me on Friday night on his program that if I wore a Joy Behar costume, you know, guys, I guess coming out on in stage in a dress, that not only would I scare the bat snot out of people, but he would pay me $5,000. I plan on collecting. I will show you what I wore out on stage by the end of the hour, and then you decide whether Bill has to pony up. I'll give it to my favorite charity, but I think he owes me cash. Now, a lot of mail over the weekend about the Restoring Sanity rally in Washington, D.C., and I think people expect me to come out and talk about and compare the crowd size, talk about the protesters that, believe it or not, depicted me as Hitler. But I want to talk to you about what I noticed. That the message Jon Stewart gave at the end of the rally, I mean, up until he even knows this, I mean, it was like a high school play. It was not good. And John even said that on stage a few times. But after they finished the nonsense, he gave a message. And it's basically the same message that I gave on 8/28. Of course, at 8/28, we spoke a lot about God in our rally. But the theme was, whether you're left or right, whether you're connecting with him or me, we need to forget about the party partisanship. We need to come together as a nation in truth. The problem with Stewart's supposedly nonpartisan rally was that I think he was co-opted. I don't know how he felt about it, but I don't think he liked it. When you add the very partisan Huffington Post, the president himself promoting the rally, dilute the message with politics, become a mouthpiece for the party, you are the Democratic Party. I mean, this was a campaign stop. This was from Barack Obama's Organizing for America website. Look at this. It says, coming to Washington, D.C. Saturday for the Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert rally to restore sanity and or fear? If so, come phone bank with us afterward. Here at OFA headquarters, we choose sanity, but whatever your choice, we'll all have one on November 2nd. Turn the energy from the rally into action afterwards with a phone bank, voters in crucial districts and states all across the country. Help us spread the sanity. Or if you're not coming to D.C. for the rally, you can still get involved by volunteering to get the help and get the vote out, etc., etc., etc. You get the point. I really don't believe Jon Stewart's intended message was that. He was co-opted from the outside. He was used. Now, unlike the mainstream media, I don't judge an entire group of people by the fringe kooks that show up for something like this. But when there's a Tea Party gathering, the first and only thing you'll see is anyone with a controversial sign. And yes, there were plenty of those on Saturday. There were some communists and some socialists and some other nut jobs. But the reason I bring all of this up is because there are more ways to tell a story. But the media is always spinning, and when you see the election coverage tomorrow, they will spin the results every which way, but they will again refuse to do it the right way, which is this. Americans are common sense people. They are not haters. They are right-centered people, and they're alarmed at what they've seen so far from Washington, all of Washington. We know we can't continue to go down this road with spending and government intervention. We want it stopped. We know we can't continue the way this media circus and this political circus is going on. I don't think anybody but Fox will give that to you in a healthy dose every day. But then the news source that the president recommends, Arianna Huffington in the Huffington Post, greeted the buses she paid $250,000 for. Here she is, greeting the people.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Jon Stewart rally. By the way, the Huffington Post now gets money for their investigative arm from the Tides Center, which is backed by George Soros. So, you have that. There's your news people. There's your news people. And here's your non-political rally with the phone banks. And here's your Organizing for America. I mean, that's not non-political. Again, I believe this rally was co-opted. I think they were just out for a promotion for the show and some laughs. But I'm showing you how these rallies are treated so very differently. This rally was about one thing. Get your news from a comedian because you can trust him. He's the one like you. And the Huffington Post is your credible news source, not Fox News. I don't think that's what Jon Stewart intended. I actually wrote to Jon Stewart, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, and I wished him luck with the rally. And I meant it. And after watching his speech, I have to say this. John, we disagree on a great many things, but I don't think we disagree on the type of people that we need to be as individual Americans. Congratulations on what seemed to be a mostly successful event. I felt for you there a couple of times, but dying is easy, comedy is hard. I challenge the rest of the media to forget the messengers for a minute, whether it be Jon Stewart or me. Forget the messengers. Stop trying to shoot them. And look at the messages sent at the two rallies. What are the chances that they would ever do that? No. Instead, they'll just keep pretending that real news and real sanity is coming from Comedy Central. And they'll dismiss the message that we both sent. Back in a minute. We're talking a little bit about the choices that America has to make starting tomorrow. And I want to go back to the rally. I want to touch on this since no one in the media will cover it. We have a problem with the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth in this country. And that's partly what this election is about, the truth. One of the performers in this modern-day free Woodstock on the Mall was a man who, interestingly enough, was introduced by Jon Stewart, a man we haven't seen much of, and a man who I'm a fan of his music. I know he doesn't like that, but I love his music. We haven't seen much of him in the United States for decades. Here he is.
You knew him as Cat Stevens. His melodies have inspired millions of us to be better people. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph, or as it is also pronounced, Yusuf.
Okay. I mean, what he doesn't tell you about Cat Stevens, I mean, now, Yusuf, in addition to his first name, his last name, I mean, he's not Madonna. It's Yusuf Islam. What he also didn't tell you is that Yusuf also apparently agreed with a fatwa, or an Islamic death sentence, on the author Salman Rushdie for writing a book, The Satanic Verses, that was unflattering to Islam. This is 1,000,000 years ago. Now, not a fatwa, not unflattering towards Islam, Cat Stevens, but Islam, the religion. Watch.
You don't think that this man deserves to die? Who? Salman Rushdie, yes. Yes.
Okay, I don't know how that's misinterpreted. I mean, Mr. Peace Train seems to be derailing just a bit there. Should we feel better knowing that Yusuf wrote on his website, quote, the accusation that I supported the fatwa, therefore is wholly false and misleading? Well, I don't know, because there's more. They mocked prayers that we had at our rally on Saturday. They mocked the recipients of our awards that were, I mean, amazing. How do you mock that? I don't get that. But to restore sanity, you present Yusuf Islam. And not because of that one line. He was asked about the possibility of attending a demonstration to burn an effigy of Rushdie. Here's what he said.
Would you go to a demonstration where you knew that an effigy was going to be burnt? I would have hoped that it'd be the real thing, but actually, no. If it's just an effigy, I don't think I'd be that moved to go there.
I mean, he also talks about, you know, if he was ordered to by the person in charge of an Islamic state, he would be the executioner. I mean, Yusuf, why must we go on hating? Why can't we just all live in bliss? Because out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Holy roller, you know what I mean? What was it that John said towards the end of the rally?
And we can have animus and not be enemies.
Yes. I just wish you'd let Yusuf know that, please. Because maybe we can all get together on this.
Not being able to distinguish between real racists and Tea Partiers, or real bigots and Juan Williams or Rick Sanchez is an insult.
And on that, again, with Jon Stewart, I could not agree more. Tonight, I want to tell you a little bit about my weekend. I did a book tour this weekend in New England, and New England is kind of a New England. If you've never been there, it's beautiful, and the people are great, but it's not exactly the most conservative area of the country. When I went to New England 2 years ago on a book tour, I sensed thousands of people came out, and I really sensed that they were afraid. There was fear there. People are not afraid anymore. What I sensed this time around was they were determined, they were united, it struck me as they had done their homework. It struck me as though they were informed. They didn't seem angry. In some ways, I sensed gratitude that they had been woken up. I'm going to show you something I got from a woman. She probably younger than me, but she came up to me and she handed this painting to me. She said, "I want you to have this painting." She said, "I painted it when I was 15 years old." She said, "I gave up on painting, and I also gave up on college years ago because I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. Well," she said, "I started watching your show, and you inspired me to pick it up." She said, "I can do it." She picked it all up again. She started to paint again. But she's doing something else as well. She said, "I'm also going back to college." This is the sense that I'm getting from almost everyone, everywhere. Tomorrow, the election is just the beginning, and it is the least about Washington. It is more about who we choose to be. Are we people that say, "Yes, I can," or "No, I just can't"? I am capable, or I am not capable. Tomorrow, people are going to come from all walks of life, and people have changed fundamentally. They're beginning to realize the power that they have as an individual, and that is what dismantles progressivism. But tomorrow, you go out and vote, but then the real work begins. We don't go back to sleep the way we always have in the past. Politicians, you should pay attention. This time, Americans are going to follow through, and we're going to make sure that you do exactly what you told us you were going to do, because we're not a bunch of hillbillies and hicks that are incapable. We're Americans. We're the ones that cross the mountains. And there are all kinds of new mountains to cross, no matter our age, no matter how much time we have left in the past. We're picking up our paintbrushes, and we're picking up our tackle. And we're all going to cross those personal mountains. Because the winning slogan, as I told you before in 2012, in 2008 it may have been, "Yes, we can." But the real secret is to empower individuals. The winning slogan for the Republic in 2012 will be, "Yes, I can." Yes, I can. All right, now for the shallow people like me, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Bill O'Reilly, on Friday's episode of the O'Reilly Factor, he bet me $5,000. He said, "I'll give you $5,000 if you come out on stage on Saturday night at the Bold Fresh Tour dressed as Joy Behar." Well, I went to the costume store, and I said I needed a costume for a snobby, elitist, uber-liberal progressive. And I think he owes me $5,000, because here's what they gave me. Just saying. Pay up, O'Reilly. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.